I'm Sean Woolley, Managing Director of Cloud9 Spain. With me today I have...
Alex Radford.
Alex Radford, lawyer from My Lawyer in Spain.
My Lawyer in Spain, yeah.
We are here to talk about that dirty word, taxes. I know, shocking, isn't it? We all have to pay them, some more than others. But Alex is just going to advise you on what taxes are needed to be paid when you purchase a property. Local taxes, non-residence taxes, residence taxes, income tax, inheritance tax, wealth tax, although not anymore. So we're going to cover a few of those angles. So Alex, I bought a property. I'm a non-resident.
Yeah.
What do I need to pay?
Okay, so first of all, when you purchase a property, you're going to pay transfer tax at 7%.
Yeah.
And if it's a second-hand property and a brand new property, you pay VAT at 10% and stamp duty, which starts at between 1 and 1.5%, depending on where you buy.
So they're the purchase taxes.
That's the purchase tax.
And then in terms of running costs and taxes ongoing.
Running costs. The year after purchase, you're going to pay what's known as the non-residence income tax, and that's a kind of almost a strange calculation of the taxable value. Only Spain could come up with.
Yeah. Do they just make it up as they go along?
Well, to a certain extent, but there is a formula there. But it's hundreds of euros rather than thousands, and that's good. That's payable the year after purchase. It's got to be paid before the end of December.
And that's paid every year thereafter.
Every year, yeah.
Okay.
And that basically, we tend to contact our clients around about between July and October to arrange payment of that tax.
Okay, so that's something that you can help with in terms of the administration of that and the payment of that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't pay it,
Yeah.
but you can help with that. And in terms of any other person-related taxes, or is it all property-related, like EB and stuff like that?
So basically, yeah. Once you've purchased property, you're going to pay town hall rates, which is the EB. In other areas, it's called SUMA. Up in the Costa Blanca area, it's called SUMA. And then you'll pay community fees if you're on a community. So
and the garbage collection,
basura. Again, nothing really to worry about. But that should come out when you're touring with the agents. Ask them about the general costs of running the property, and again, when we prepare our legal report for clients, we include those costs there. Because
that depends on which municipality you're in, doesn't it? So, for instance, we're sitting here in a place in Benavis where we pay quite low rates of EB and basura at the moment. So we pay 18 euros a year for the rubbish collection, whereas you go to Marbella, you probably pay 180 euros a year. Look, it's not a lot of money, but it just shows you that there are differences depending on where you buy. So it is worth, as Alex quite rightly said, it is worth checking out with your agent exactly what those costs are going to be.
Yeah.
What else? Are there any other?
So you mentioned personal income tax. So if you move to Spain, the tax year in Spain runs from January to December.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy. So if you spend more than 183 nights in Spain, then you become a Spanish tax resident. So if you move to Spain at the beginning of the year, you have to submit your tax returns between April and June the following year.
Okay.
And then if you have assets over the value of 50,000 euros outside of Spain, then you have to declare that in March the year after arrival too.
Okay, as a non-resident.
As a non-resident.
Okay.
Well, actually, as a resident too.
Yeah, you
as a resident.
Yeah.
So that's called Modelo 720.
Yeah.
And it's just a declaration. It's not, you're not paying any taxes on that, because as we sit here and talk, the wealth tax in Andalucia is in the process of being abolished, which is great news.
Yeah, I was reading various articles about this today, because this is hot news off the press that Andalucia is becoming not a low tax economy, but it's very competitive now.
Yeah.
Even people who were worried about the levels of income tax, that seems to be something that they're tackling here, because each region of Spain is semi-autonomous, isn't it?
Yes.
So they can make their own decisions about local taxes. So wealth tax is gone. What does that mean, really, for people wealthier than me?
But basically, yeah, that means that you had to pay tax when you had more or less assets over €1 million.
Yeah.
So that means that those wealthy individuals now don't have to pay that. And
wasn't that based on worldwide assets as well? So
yes.
They would take everything into account,
yes,
and then they would slap a tax on you.
Yeah.
So that must mean that, well, I'm guessing more and more seriously wealthy people are going to find moving to Andalusia attractive.
Absolutely. So in the past, we prepared tax calculations for clients. They've got worldwide assets of extensive worldwide assets and income, and it was a lot of money each year to pay in wealth tax. The fact that that's gone now is amazing. So it's very positive. And you're right. There's 17 autonomous regions in Spain, each with a different taxes. Andalucia now is really shining at the top of tax-friendly autonomous regions. It brought the wealth, it abolished the wealth tax, and it brought transfer tax down from 8, 9, 10% to just 7%.
Why are they doing this?
Well, they're doing it to attract income.
So they want inward investment.
Attract income, investment. It's a new government in place. They've got a good majority. So they're doing what they set out to do.
And I know it's very, very early to say this, but have you noticed any? I mean, obviously we had the transfer tax reduction. We're now seeing wealth tax being abolished. We've had a few clients on the phone to us this morning saying, "What does this mean? What does this mean?" Have you noticed anything from your end? Have you noticed any stimulus of inquiries?
I think it's really early days, Sean, because it's literally happened in the last 48 hours. However, I can see that. I can see that because we've dealt with it before, and wealth tax was something that really did put off some of the wealthier clients.
Yeah.
And the wealthy clients who've got properties in Marbella, but they might want to now consider moving to Spain. So some of our clients will probably look at that now.
Yeah, excellent. And in terms of utility bills, just in terms of ongoing costs, you've got electricity, water, gas isn't often supplied in Spain, is it?
No.
So electricity and water, I mean, obviously household bills are on the rise wherever you are in the world. Anything else we've missed?
Well, so community fees. Community fees,
yeah.
Again, depending on the resort or urbanisation you buy into. If it's got lots of swimming pools or gardens, then they
security
go up.
And things like that. It all costs money, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
And those costs are shared depending on how much of the community you own, which will be predominantly because of the size of the apartment or the villa that you have. Then those costs will be shared across all members of the community. So if you have, for instance, a development of 20 apartments and you have 24-hour security, you've got 20 owners paying for 3 people's salary. Whereas if you have a resort of 200 or 300 people paying for that, then the cost is diluted and it becomes a bit more economically viable. So again, things to ask your agent about when you're doing a tour and you're looking at properties that you like. Find out what the community fees are, why they're that level, what you get in return for your money. In terms of residence, if you become a resident here, what other taxes are there to pay?
So yeah, in effect, as we kind of touched on it, if you spend more than 183 nights in Spain in a calendar year, then you become a resident and you pay tax on worldwide assets and income the year after purchase.
Okay.
So the year after you become a resident.
Yeah.
And that's a sliding scale depending on the income that you generate.
Okay, that's fine. And finally, inheritance tax. What's the situation there at the moment in Andalusia?
So in Andalusia, it's quite favourable. This government started that process a few years back when they were in coalition then, and they've basically increased the personal allowance that direct heirs can inherit up to €1 million free of an inheritance tax,
Okay.
and then 99% thereafterwards.
Okay,
But
so it's virtually zero.
Virtually zero, but it's direct relative. So not brother to sister, but mother to father, father to son.
Okay.
Okay. And they are looking at increasing the personal allowances outwards as well, and they've made donation tax a lot more less onerous than it was before.
Okay, so if you wanted to leave money to the cats and the dogs home and stuff like that,
you can do that. Yeah,
it's a little easier.
Yeah, but certainly the €1 million allowance is really good, and then 99% discount there afterwards. And what we are finding is a lot of people are donating properties now, so they want to give their properties to their loved ones now, and they put that in process, so they don't wait until they die. Right.
Okay. Speaking of death. Wills, is that something that people should do with you, or is their will at home sufficient?
No, I definitely recommend for Spanish assets a Spanish will. So if you've got a will in another country, or if you've got assets in another jurisdiction, I'd recommend you have a will for each jurisdiction, and they're all coordinated. And some countries, as you know, the first clause of the will is I revoke all former wills. So if you're updating your local will, it'll be I revoke all former wills except my Spanish will dated X.
Okay.
And have a Spanish will purely for Spanish assets. And that Spanish will, the cost of which is we charge €212 for the will and allow about €100 for notary fees. Those costs can save you a lot of headache,
a lot of hassle,
and a lot of costs of not having a will.
Yeah, I've seen it before where people have been left without a will, and it's just unnecessary stress and problems that could have been avoided.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've covered that murky subject, but thank you so much for your
pleasure.
advice as always.
My pleasure.